Hey y'all, it's Krypton Critics. I'm here to review the film Spring Breakers from 2012, directed by Harmony Corney. It stars Selena Gomez as Faith, James Franco as Alien, Vanessa Hudgens as Candy, Ashley Benson as Britt, Rachel Corney, who is the wife of the director, as Cody, and Gucci Mane as Big Arc. This movie, for one, it is nothing like what a lot of people assumed it was going to be just from the title and the casting. It's not like 21 and Over, and it's not like Project X. It is actually a big like deconstruction and commentary on all of youth culture of debaucherous acts of like, let's go down to Florida, ooh, spring break, let's get drunk and fuck and get high and have not a care in the world. This movie has active like understanding of that can be good and understandable to a point, but the film also shows the dangers of ever trying to go into fleeting excess, because the reoccurring topic and theme throughout this movie is living in the moment. A common mantra from the girls that we follow, Faith, Candy, Britt, and Cody, is spring break forever, which is a common phrase for the carefree college kid group that will get drunk and just blow the fucking minds out. Even scenes where a lot of people will see this movie and they'll see the scenes with the ridiculous that ridiculous way of showing the drinking and people having their tits out and the partying, and just assume, well, this is just a way to demean women. It's just a way to do this because it's popular and people watch it. But I disagree, because that's only a very small part of this movie. A big portion of this movie goes into the sadness of these girls in the beginning, because back at home before they come down to Florida, I think they're from Georgia. You could see that their lives, they feel bored and unfulfilled. That they want some excitement. They want something different, as they point. And when they come to Florida and they do this by robbing people and toting that line of losing the collective shit. Only two of the characters, the girls that we follow, rob. That's Candy and Britt. They're the ones that always are the most morally ambiguous. The one that drove the vehicle and helped them be the getaway, that was Cody. And Faith is the one that doesn't rob anybody, and she has the most common sense. Now, she is also, as her name may suggest, that she is the most Christian and more wholesome out of the group. She will dabble in some of the things just a little bit. She's tempted by the bad influences around her. Now, pretty much all the performances are really well done. Like, all the girls can play scared and sad very well. I had never seen Selena Gomez in anything, or Vanessa Hudgens. I was happily surprised that they could hold their own in a film. And but the man, the actor that is, in my opinion, is on top of everybody in performance, is freaking James Franco. He transforms into this role. He played his character Alien is this rapping drug dealer wigger. Now I know there was a little bit of a controversy after this movie came out, because Riff Raff sued the director of this film, because he felt like his image was being used to reflect in character Alien. James Franco is corny white guy that is just obsessed with the youth culture. He doesn't know how to grow up, and he wears cornrows in his head. But you know, it's crazy how much he transforms his role, because very rarely, unless if I see him without him wearing glasses and I'm just looking at his eyes, because his eyes and his facial hair were distinctive, I don't think James Franco. I'm thinking, well, that's Alien. He's this crazy guy that, you know, it's unlike anything I've seen. He is extremely irritating, sometimes creepy, funny, all at once. It's something really to marvel at. Even if you are not the biggest fan of this film, you at least have to admire that performance. Because, in my opinion, he's best. The worst performance, in my opinion, is Gushime. Now, is his performance bad? If he's meant to be playing himself, then no. But he doesn't. He doesn't have a good range of inflections, and this is not new Gushime, who can pronounce his words properly and is on. You know, he's skinny now. This is older Gucci Mane when he was fatter and a lot of his words were very slurred. But either way, he is definitely the character with the least amount of interest. I mean, he is important to the plot later down, and I'm glad that he was brought back, and not necessarily as his performance, but just as a character to connect the threads and see how the story continues. You know, because what goes down with his character and his conflicts with Alien, you know, it just goes downhill for these characters and their situation. So it's really impressive how this director will put in the same film. He will put like indie style. He'll put fluorescent colors, and he'll put snap editing where next scene will be started with like the sound of a gun cocking or the sound of someone lighting up a lighter on a bong. To me, that's really expert. Sometimes it's a little bit overdone, but a lot of times, you know, it makes you want to know what happens next, because, you know, that puts you on high alert. And most of the time, it does not seem cheap. It does seems like really good editing. And I'm still surprised by a lot of things that were in this film. Every time there was the partying and the excess, it would be shot like a music video with everything's colorful, and things would start getting wavy. It was almost like watching, you know, some kind of visual movie depiction of like someone getting fucked up. So this film has, you know, the messages of, you know, living in the moment. And even James Franco, I'm going to spoil this movie, he dies. He's shot by one of Gucci Mane's, you know, gangsters that works for him, you know, one of the henchmen. And in the narration after his death, he says, you know, this experience with these girls, because Faith leaves first, Cotty leaves after she's shot by one of Gucci Mane's, you know, acolytes, and she decides to leave. And immediately we know Faith has the most sense, Cotty has the second, and Candy and Britt, I don't know what you're gonna you know, either you like them or you don't, but they are some ride or die bitches. That's what I can definitely say. But he says being with these girls is like being in a dream. So that brings into the whole understanding of, you know, spring break forever mantra, and understanding like the momentary aspects of youth culture, just wanting everything now, wanting to drink and fuck at excess, not worrying about responsibility. and lacking maturity. All they want to do is just experience something momentary forever. And we all, it's like it's part of like egocentric mindset of all humankind to want something that pleasures us, whether it's sexual, either we like it because it's food, or we feel like we're getting excited about something. But realism and actual nature of humanity teaches us that we can't have that at all times. It's impossible, and if you do, you step on other people's feet of your enjoyment. You wanting everything and having everything at excess, at a certain point, you're going to alienate people next to you, or you can actually end up hurting them. And that's what happens. For the girls to get the money to come down to Florida from, I think it was Georgia they're from, where it's supposed to be wholesome and they're supposed to be in college and all that. Then they go to spring break. They get that money from robbing a restaurant. And they threaten with force. So it is a cautionary tale. Even though at some points it could feel like, oh, get off my lawn. Even I was thinking that in my head a few times with how crazy some of these kids get. And that's me, and I go to college. I'm about to start, my next semester this following week. But yeah, expert filming, how they'll go from the juxtaposition of the drab normal life, even the colors are muted, colors become more stark and flagrant when we're in the surreal world. And yeah, I know like the actor Alien, I'm sorry, James Franco, who plays Alien. There was a petition to like give him an Academy Award. I'm not gonna say for certain that he deserves this one. I might have to look back at some of the other films that had came out, but to me, this is something that at least deserves, some kind of recognition. Not necessarily a win, but it's definitely something to marvel at. Some of the scenes, he nails, the dark humor, the creepiness, the wiggerisms, the southern accent. He does all of it together. Yeah, but the more I think about this film, sometimes it's not about necessarily a character's arc. It's about the understanding of the message and some of the interactions. That is what makes this movie great in many ways. This movie is definitely not perfect. It is definitely fun to watch. Sometimes it's a little bit depressing, actually. And I'm not gonna lie, I had a great bit of enjoyment from this movie, and I feel like it deserves a B plus. In some aspects, it's underrated. A lot of people just hand this aside. I think it was good piece to understand that because of the timing, and a lot of people, when they see certain films, they don't look underneath the surface. They just like, oh, it's that. I don't fuck with that. Sometimes you just need to give it a chance, or you can't just look at the face value. So this movie, I don't think it's sexist. I don't think it's necessarily ageist. I understand why someone might take it those ways, but still, just on production value and the acting and the storytelling, it's good enough. It's part of the Krypton Critics. I love you.